I don't think it's too controversial to say that Plants vs. Zombies is the perfect mobile game. The base gameplay is excellent, be one of the best tower defense games on the market, and it does a great job expanding on and refining its mechanics in its minigames. It's the kind of game people thought mobile gaming would strive towards before loot boxification ruined gaming as a whole. It's not surprising that it's one of the few mobile games people seriously consider for a Smash representative. Not a lot of people, it's still a mobile game, but it has more push than Clash of Clans does. One of the first picks for a PvZ rep is Crazy Dave, probably because he isn't literally rooted to the ground like the plants are. Other proposed movesets for Dave have done a great job of giving him tools that let him embody the spirit of Plants vs. Zombies. However, they tend to keep his plant moves and his normal moves separate from each other. Is this a good design idea? Yeah. Is it crazy though? Well, yeah, they are still pretty crazy movesets, but let's kick it up a notch. This video will once again have illustrations courtesy of my good friend, Microsoft Paint. I've been trying to book my distant acquaintance basic art skills for one of these videos, but unfortunately they weren't available for today. My proposed moveset for Dave will, like most Crazy Dave movesets, be pretty campy. Plants vs. Zombies is a tower defense game. It's all about building a strong defense to ward off approaching enemies. Making Dave more aggressive would feel too distant from the series. I also centered my moveset around the plants, as they are the main focus of the PvZ games. Dave will carry a flower pot, spawning various plants to attack for him. He has very few non-plant attacks, and most of them interact with his plants in some way. Other movesets have had Dave use items found in PvZ, like the Rake and Bug Spray, but I've decided to make the plants the sole focus of this version of Dave. Rather than go through Dave's attacks by category like we normally do, I'm going to start with the moves which don't directly use a plant to attack. The first is his jab. This is a simple mallet swing, similar to Isabelle and Steve's jabs. You'll have stronger knockback than either of those moves to prevent the bullshit either of them enable. It will also replace any of Dave's moves when the plant he uses is unavailable, allowing him to use it in the air or as a dash attack. Why would his plants be unavailable, you ask? Why, because of his neutral special, of course. When grounded, Dave's neutral special places a plant on the ground. By default this is the Peashooter, but by holding down the button you can select from a wheel of 8 different plants. Not only do each of these have a unique effect when planted, but they are all present for 2 other moves in Dave's moveset. When a plant is on the stage, Dave loses access to those moves, replacing them with his jab. Dave can only place a maximum of 3 plants at a time, and only 1 of each plant. Additionally, most plants will be destroyed after taking roughly 10% in damage, and Dave won't be able to plant them or use their attacks for a short period. I'll go over what each plant does when planted as they come up in the rest of his moveset, along with how they interact with Dave's side special, the Plant Food from PvZ2. This ball of energy will power up any plant he comes into contact with, having a unique effect on each plant. Some of these effects are taken straight from PvZ2, but some effects didn't make much sense in Smash, and some of the plants just aren't in that game, so a few of these will be new. Similar to Banjo's Wonder Wing, Dave starts each stock with 5 charges of plant food, but is unable to gain more, meaning he'll have to use them carefully to make sure he doesn't waste them. His last non-plant move is his down special, the Shovel. Dave uses the shovel in 2 ways. When used normally, Dave drops down and bounces off the ground or his opponents like a pogo stick. This has a strong spike at the beginning, but like most stall and falls, it's pretty risky to go for off stage. When this move is used beside a plant, however, Dave will dig them up, regaining access to the moves they're used for and allowing him to plant something different. We're now moving on to the bulk of Dave's moveset, which incorporates the plants. I'll go through the plants he uses, what attacks he uses them for, and how they work while planted. The most natural plant to start on is the Peashooter. This is the first plant you start with in PvZ, and it remains a reliable early wave defender for quite a while. Dave will use it for his forward tilt and forward air, shooting a P in front of him. Similar to me Gunner's forward air, Dave's forward air pushes him back a little bit, but otherwise these are 2 very basic projectiles. When planted, the Peashooter works a lot like it does in Plants vs. Zombies, firing a P every 1.5 seconds, or 90 frames to be specific. The shot isn't super powerful, but it can be annoying for opponents to deal with when trying to approach Dave. When given plant food, the Peashooter fires a barrage of Ps. It will be completely intangible during this animation, meaning it can't be destroyed until it's done firing. This attack can easily break a full shield, and if not shielded it does a ton of damage, but it can be jumped over just like the normal shot. The next plant I want to highlight is a less popular plant that's only present in the original PvZ, the Umbrella Leaf. Its main use is in Dave's up special. Dave leaps high into the air, and as he reaches the peak of his jump, he holds the flower pot over his head, letting an umbrella leaf open up and softly drift him downwards. The umbrella leaf can be opened and closed like Peach's up special to change up his fall speed. The umbrella leaf also makes an appearance in Dave's down tilt, flaring its leaves as Dave swings the pot in front of him. Should Dave make the risky choice of planting his only recovery tool, the umbrella leaf offers a powerful zoning tool. It senses opponents approaching from above, and when they get too close, it will open its leaves and bounce them away. This can also be frustrating for opponents in juggle situations, as Dave can trap them into either eating an attack or drifting in range of the umbrella leaf, bouncing them up and repeating the process. When given plant food, the umbrella leaf is turned into a reflector, bouncing back any projectiles that hit it for the next 10 seconds. Next up is a bit of an odd plant, the Tangle Kelp. This is the only plant in Dave's moveset, other than the flower pot itself, which cannot be placed on stage since it needs water. You might be thinking that this means it shouldn't be in a flower pot either. While this is the case in normal gameplay, the Tangle Kelp can be seen in a flower pot when first obtained in the Zen Garden, so it checks out. The Tangle Kelp will be used for Dave's grab, wrapping its thorny branches around the opponent. It will also perform Dave's back throw, whipping the target away as Dave swings around. Back to a more standard plant, Dave uses the cactus in his forward smash and up throw. The forward smash has Dave swing the cactus in front of him like a baseball bat, while his up throw has the cactus spawn under the opponent, stretching up to launch them away. When planted, the cactus fires a spike every 90 frames, the same rate as the Peashooter. These shots will deal slightly less damage, but in exchange the cactus can extend upwards to hit opponents too high for its normal shot. When given plant food, it will fire 3 spikes which home onto the nearest opponent, similar how the cattail upgrade fires. These are still pretty slow and they can be evaded, but since the shots last quite a while, the opponent may be put into awkward positions trying to dodge them. Next up is a favorite of survival mode players, the Kernel-pult. Dave's up tilt has the Kernel-pult spawn in the pot backwards, facing Dave and swiping its arm to hit nearby opponents. The up air actually uses the Kernel-pult's kernels, with Dave winding the arm back himself to launch a kernel faster than the normal shot. When planted, the Kernel-pult fires half as fast as the Peashooter and its kernels are weaker, however it's able to aim its shots to hit airborne opponents. Additionally, it has a 25% chance to fire butter, spiking airborne fighters and stunning grounded fighters. When given plant food, it will fire a butter shot directly at the nearest opponent, making it difficult to dodge at close range. Another popular plant in almost every PvZ mode is the squash, the most efficient single-use plant. Squash is present in Dave's neutral air and down throw. Neutral air has Dave spin the squash around him, hitting nearby opponents for big damage. Down throw has the squash sprout up behind Dave and jump over him to crush the target. Down throw is pretty similar to how squash works when planted. The squash will notice opponents that get too close to it, leap up, and crash down on them. Opponents can try to bait it by dashing in and out, however the squash's jumping range is further than its noticing range, so it can still hit opponents that don't dash far away enough. When given plant food, the squash's attack will now track opponents even further away, and it will spike airborne targets and bury grounded targets. Most of the plants I picked are present in the original PvZ, but there's one which was introduced in PvZ 2, the Bonk Choy. As a purely melee plant, Bonk Choy is pretty straightforward. Dave's back air has Bonk Choy throw 2 punches behind him, while his down smash has Bonk Choy swing its arms on either side of Dave. When planted, the Bonk Choy punches any opponent who gets close to it. This makes it hard to hit with melee attacks, so I think it might need to have its health lowered from the typical 10% to around 7 or 8%. When given plant food, the Bonk Choy unleashes a flurry of punches, which go even further than its normal punches. Speaking of plants with different health values, next up is the Walnut. Walnut is used in Dave's forward throw, where he uses it to ram into the opponent, and Dave's dash attack, where he stumbles and sends the walnut rolling in front of him. This dash attack is a projectile, meaning it can be reflected, but also means it can roll off stage and hit opponents attempting to recover low. When planted, the walnut acts as a barrier, taking hits for Dave and the other plants. While the other plants only need 10% to be destroyed, the walnut will take 25% before breaking. Given how annoying Steve's blocks are as walls, I debated not including the walnut at all, but ultimately I decided it was too iconic to leave out. Additionally, Steve's block walls are mostly frustrating because he can build them too high to attack or jump over. The walnut is much harder to destroy than Steve's blocks, but it also fails to protect him from attacks that pass over it. When given plant food, the walnut gains a metal coat, healing it and doubling its health from 25 to 50. Ending with a bang is the potato mine, and of course it's present in the last 2 moves we need to cover, up smash and down air. Dave's up smash has him quickly raise the pot over his head as a potato mine emerges, which explodes and staggers him briefly. Dave's down air is risky to use but has a high reward. He hurls the flower pot below him as a potato mine pops up. Upon contact with either an opponent or the ground, the mine will explode, sending nearby opponents flying. Regardless of whether this attack connects though, Dave will no longer be holding his flower pot, so this attack will have a very poor first actionable frame as the game waits for the pot to respawn. When planted, the potato mine will detonate when hit or stepped on. When given plant food, the potato mine will sense when characters are airborne above it and jump up to hit them. Alright, that was a lot of moves back to back. Let's take a breather and take a look at some of Dave's Flavour Animations. For his up taunt, Dave does his "because I'm crazy" line with the flipping pot. His side taunt has him take a step forward, only to step on a rake which smacks him in the face. For his down taunt, Dave eats a taco. He's a zany character from the late aughts, so of course he has an obsession with Mexican food. Dave's first windscreen shows him watering the flower pot. The pot wiggles to show it's enjoying the shower, and if the camera is close enough, you can even see it smiling. For his second windscreen, Dave is balancing on one foot atop a walnut. He holds a yoga pose while trying not to wobble. For his third windscreen, Dave is lounging on a chair with a kernel-pult planted across from him. It periodically flings kernels at him, with Dave opening his mouth to catch them. This has a chance to fling butter, smacking Dave in the face before he brushes it off and returns to lounging. Last but not least, his final smash is Dave hop into his time machine, Penny, from PVZ2. Up to 3 characters hit by this will be stuck to the front of Penny as she hops between different time periods, running over zombies which bash into the opponent. Finally, Penny returns to just before the final smash started, slamming into her past self. This sends past Penny forward into a time portal and launches the opponent. For costumes, his default will of course be his white polo and blue jeans. I think it'd be cool if Dave had a couple of costumes where he's dressed up like a zombie, one with the regular brown suit and one with a black suit. Dave has worn other outfits in the past, but I think these would be better as color palette references and not full outfit changes. I also think the plants should change color with Dave's alternate skins to make it clear whose plants are whose on stage. The default plants are all either green, yellow, or brown, so we'll avoid those colors for the alternate skins. For music, the PVZ series doesn't have the deepest well to pull from. This isn't a Terry Bogard dropping with 56 SNK songs situation, but there's definitely some tracks which stand out, such as the menu theme, coincidentally named Crazy Dave. There's Grass Walk, the song which plays during the standard lawn levels. There's Loon Boon, the song for the Walnut Bowling minigame. There's Grace the Roof, the song for roof-based levels. And let's add some songs from PVZ2, like the Lost City Ultimate Battle theme. Altogether, I have a list of 10 songs which I think would best represent the series, but if you think there's a song I missed, please let me know. Lastly, I think there's 2 obvious choices for the stage, either the front lawn or the roof from PVZ1. The lawn is definitely the more popular map, but I think the roof provides a more standard Smash layout with actual ledges. It's also where the final boss of PVZ, Dr. Zomboss, is fought, giving it some extra significance. But there's no denying the lawn is the map most people think of when they think of PVZ, so I could see this going either way, even if I prefer the roof personally. And that's my proposal for adding Crazy Dave to Smash. I know his moveset leans towards a campier playstyle, but I hope he looks fun regardless. I also hope he feels like a good representation of Plants vs. Zombies. There's plenty of stuff I couldn't include, like Gathering Sun, plant upgrades, or any of the nighttime plants. But despite that, I think this moveset shows off the core of Plants vs. Zombies and the importance of good plant management. If you have any suggestions, I'd be interested to read about them in the comments below. I still have more Smash moveset videos on the way, but given how long these videos take to make, I'm starting to make other videos to fill the gaps. Currently, I'm working on a script talking about how Hoenn has the best Pokédex out of all the Pokemon regions. If that sounds interesting to you, or if you want to see some more Smash movesets in the future, please subscribe to the channel. I've also started editing for my girlfriend's channel, Parker Hall Writing. She's an author, poet, and literary magazine screener who shares her insight on writing and the writing industry. If you're a word nerd like we are, I highly recommend checking her channel out. Her video analyzing the poems in Doki Doki Literature Club is my favorite so far. We're also slowly uploading to our shared channel, We Name Our Plants, though that's definitely been slow as of late. We should have some Mario Odyssey episodes coming out soon, so keep an eye open for that. Alright, that should be the last of my shameless plugs. Thanks for making it to this point in the video. As a reward, here's a hint about the next moveset I'm going to be working on. I'll be adding a Pokemon evolution line where you evolve throughout the course of a match. As for what line that is, I'll let you speculate for now. Winner gets a cookie. Later, skaters.